Hi guys! This is a tutorial for how to use Excel, the basics of Excel. We use Excel to calculate large sets of numbers. The first thing you'll want to do is you'll want to organize your numbers by adding a title at the beginning of every column that you put numbers into. Include units, so if you put temperature, make sure you include degrees Celsius or Kelvin. If you're doing pressure, make sure you do pascals or atmospheres, whatever units you're using. To enter in information, you can enter in information one by pushing the number and enter to go down the row. However, this will take a while, especially if we use a large data collection. So a faster way to do this is to enter in the first number and then to use an equation. So this second one, I'm going to add 1 every time to the one before it. And if I drag this down by clicking on the square right here, that allows me to drag it down and the equation will go with it. For instance, this one I entered in a number. This equation took the number above C2 and added 1. And when I dragged down the box, the equation followed me. So it went to the above one and added 1, and therefore I could put those in. Summations are pretty simple. If you want to sum a large number, you'll want to use the summation function by typing in sum with a parentheses, and you can highlight the numbers that you want to add together. You can also use an equal sign, click on the numbers you want, and click the addition key. But as you can see, this would take a lot more time. So that's why we use the summation function. I'm just going to stop this because it'll take a while. Now we're going to go over to equations. To type an equation for Excel, you want to type the equation that you are using so you can reference it later on when you go back to look at your Excel spreadsheet. This equation asks me to multiply my x value by 10 and divide by 5. I can simply put in an equal sign, type in the number 10, put an asterisk for the multiplication sign, and click on the value for x, divide by 5, and I can do that for each one. But that would take a lot of time to type it in for each one. So instead, since you have this equation, Excel is smart enough to know that if I drag this box down, that I want to take x from my fourth row. I want my x to be 3. So it automatically plugs in 3, and this saves a lot of time with calculations. If I also have an equation with a sum, so it wants me to take the sum of all of these numbers, this number right here, 55, and multiply it by y. Again, I could do 55, or the sum, multiplied by y. And I could do that each time, 55 times y. But that would take, again, a lot of effort. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this down. If you notice, that gives me an odd answer. That's not the answer I want. The reason for this is because Excel looks at this equation that we have right here, and it says B12, which is my 55. That's my sum. But Excel thinks that you want your next equation to be B13, which is blank. It's 0. So it's taken the equation, and now it's multiplying 0 times your next y value. In order to stop that from happening, you go to your equation where you used your cell, the value that you want to use, and you put a $sign in front of the letter and the number, and click enter. And then you can drag this down. So when you look at your next equation, these $signs tell Excel continue to use the value in B12 and do not move down the list. Whereas when you go over here, the Y value will continue to change and go down your data set. This avoids a lot of extra calculations and will give you the time to do the lab instead of doing the calculations.